Surprisingly, the scariest part about the NCAA championships this year is not Gable Steveson. What is it then? Let's stop stalling and start talking wrestling. What's going on, wrestling fans? My name's Josiah, and welcome to the Fanco Wrestling YouTube channel here for NCAA Championships Week. And I have to be honest with you, I'm a little bit nervous about the NCAAs this year. And there's a reason why. It's honestly, it's because of the vid, okay? The virus that canceled the tournament last year is still looming. And I'm not necessarily nervous about getting it and I wish the best health and safety to all the athletes, but there's some certain procedures and protocols that I'm really, really nervous about. So let me explain what I mean. So in the NCAA handbook and a lot of NCAA meetings going on, we've kind of learned more about how this NCAA championships will be a bit different from the past. So first of all, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that the NCAA is having the championships this year. I'm grateful that we have a season this year for wrestling. I mean, beyond grateful. But there are lots of changes. One of those changes is that the rounds are split up between weights from 125 to 157 and 165 through 285. They're split up, similar actually to how the PIAA did it with the state championships, is how the NCAA is doing it, splitting things up until the semifinals. The other thing that's different this year, and then I'll get to the big scary thing. The other thing that's different is apparently if there's any sort of blood time or anything like that, there's going to be a lot of time, potentially 20 minutes of time, for sanitizing and bringing everything back up to the code that the NCAA needs to have it at in order for the health and safety of the athletes. So we could get some long wait times in between matches. Be ready for that if you're watching. And the other thing that is different is that the athletes and staff and everybody has to get tested every single day. So that the good thing is that really helps to make the environment safe and healthy on the match and allows the competitors to compete. But, I mean, it's a lot to go through. Not only are you making weight and getting ready, getting your mind right, now you have another even thing for these athletes to go through before they get onto the mat. But the scary part comes to this. It's a rigorous testing process, right? And I'm like I said, I'm grateful that we have the NCAA championships, but here's the scary part. Contact tracing. And this is what I mean by that. If you're not familiar with things going on, basically, if somebody's within contact of somebody who has the virus, they're kind of knocked out, they're placed into some sort of isolation, and they'll be knocked out of the tournament. So let's look at Spencer Lee's bracket, for example. And this is the scariest part, okay? Is Spencer Lee may wrestle Kyson Terrakina or Patrick McCormick in the first round on Thursday. One of those two guys he's going to wrestle in the first round. They had tested at that point on Thursday. Then let's say, Spencer Lee wins out. He makes the championship finals on Saturday. If either of those two guys he wrestled, and anybody up to the finals test positive on that Saturday morning, because they were in contact with Spencer Lee, he may not, or any wrestler, not Spencer Lee, but I'm using that as an example, may not be able to wrestle in the finals. How scary and crazy would that be? First of all, I would be so upset that we didn't get to watch it. Obviously, like I said, wish the best health and safety to everybody, like if that was to happen. But as a wrestling fan, I would miss out on that opportunity so much. And you better believe Tom Brands is going to be upset. You better believe Spencer Lee is going to be upset. Now, the good thing is, a lot of these guys have even bigger goals than NCAAs, and I know that they would take it so well. Just knowing how Spencer Lee is, he's, just a stand-up person. And so many of these athletes are. It's just the caliber of these wrestlers just blows my mind. But there's so many different variables that go into the NCAA championships this year that I wanted to make you aware of as a wrestling fan. What would you do? Hopefully this doesn't happen. Hopefully we don't have to go through this, but man, it would be crazy if it does happen.